Hey everybody, it's Christy from Hidden Compass Travel coming today with a travel spotlight. I had said I was going to do that. It's a little behind this week. I got kind of busy, so I'm a little late doing this one. I wanted to have it ready on Monday, but better late than never, right? So I'm gonna spotlight a place that I have been to probably more than any other, and that is Grand Teton National Park. That is actually my favorite national park in the United States that I have been to so far, and I've probably been to quite a few. And it just so happens that I didn't know I was going to do this video today, but I actually wore my Grand Teton National Park shirt. So it's like the perfect day to do this, right? So anyway, I'm going to be doing a presentation for you just to share with you about the national park. And, at the end of the video, in the comments on YouTube or on my Facebook page, if you want to add to anything, please do. So, all right, we're going to switch on over to the Grand Tetons. This is actually one of my pictures that I took, and I've actually since framed it, and it's hanging on my wall because it just was so, so pretty. But this is the view of the Tetons and just absolutely gorgeous. Um, it gets overlooked sometimes because of its neighbor to the north, Yellowstone National Park, which is extremely popular, and people will just bypass it, the Tetons, and just be like, the Yellowstone, what's the Tetons? Well, that's the one I want to talk about. So first of all, where are they? This is the state of Wyoming, and it's up here in this northwestern corner of Yellowstone, and just to the south are the Grand Tetons. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. So the size of the park is 310,000 acres or about 484 square miles. And this is actually the park map, and you can kind of see the borders of the map or the park, excuse me, right here. You see we've got one of the larger lakes, Jackson Lake here to the north and everything. This is actually a view at sunset that I took at Jackson Lake Lodge. So you can't really see the lake, but you can see the outline of the mountain. So um, it's not the biggest park by any means, but again, my personal favorite. So I think it's the best park. So I wanted to tell you a lot about the things you can do in the Grand Tetons. You have a lot of things you can do, and really, I am focusing on the summer things that you can do. You can visit in the winter if you are so inclined, but the high season is definitely in the summer for the park, for all the things that people want to do. If you really like the cold, you like the snow, you want to be able to ski. You cannot ski in the park, but there are places to ski around the park. But some of the main things to do here are hiking, boating and floating, biking, fishing, climbing and mountaineering, just driving. Just driving is a great thing to do. Wildlife viewing, there's some great wildlife to see, ranger-led programs, and becoming a junior ranger. This little church here is in the park that you can go to. It's actually on the south end of the park. It's called the Church of the Emancipation. I'm probably going to get it wrong. But oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I have so many pictures of this little church over the years. It has not changed, yet I still take a picture every time I go. So let's talk about the hiking first. So here is the park map with all of these hikes that you can do. And you can see a lot of them do circle lakes, go past the lakes. Um, there are 250 miles of trails, and some of them are short. Some of them, they're backcountry. You can go do, more than a day, couple of days, camp overnight. I just want to caution you if you're a hiker. I like to hike, but I'll be the first to admit I do what's called easy hikes, one that's done in a few hours at the most, not a lot of hills, and that sort of a thing. Well, easy in the Tetons is a relative term, and so they may call it easy on their brochure about it, but you may start going up and you're like, this is the easy hike. So I personally love hiking poles when I hike, and hiking poles are great here. Good, really good shoes, hiking boots. I love those for hiking. Just remember, don't wear them, Don't go hiking for the first day you buy them because your feet will hate you. This was a short hike to String Lake that I did with my daughter last year. This is a trail for around Taggart Lake. Now, this is deceptive. This is getting toward the end of the hike, and it's like, oh, it's nothing. Before you get to that part, there's a lot of going uphill over rocks. But for those of you who are like me, there are a lot of places for you to stop, catch your breath, and keep moving on at the end of Tiger Lake. Um, this is probably one of my favorite places in the Tetons. This is Jenny Lake. It's beautiful. There is a hike that will take you all the way around the lake. And it's about 7 or 8 miles, I think, to do the whole loop. We did half of it, basically. We did about 4 miles. So here's what's really great on this hike. On, I know you're looking at a picture here, it's a little hard to see, but on this side of the lake, there's a boat. And you can take it all the way to the other side, and you can hike up and you can see this lovely waterfall. Okay. And then you can continue to hike up higher, which we did not do. And there's another hike that goes through kind of a canyon, or you can come back down. You can take the boat, go all the way back across. So not really a lot of hiking, more of a uphill climb to that waterfall. Or you can do what we did. We got to the other side and then took the rest of the trail all the way back. And this is part of just, a little view of that trail. It is fairly flat-ish. It, again, a little uphill, a little downhill. And I mean, when I say little, I do mean little on this one. It's more of the length. But you do want to make sure, and I apologize if you're hearing sneezing in the background. My dog walked in and he is sneezing. Sorry about that. Anyway, if you do decide to do these trails, these longer trails, be prepared. Bring your water, bring your backpack, bring snacks or even lunch so you can stop and have a snack and that sort of a thing. But hiking in the Tetons, for me, that is what I like to do while I am there personally. So that's why I'm telling you more about it. If you are a boater, all right, so you can bring your own boat and go out. There's two of the lakes that will allow a motorized boat that you can do. Um, and if you do bring a boat in, your own boat, it does have to be inspected to make sure you're not bringing any, foreign live shellfish type things that will infect their waters. Okay, so it is inspected. There is a fee. It's pretty inexpensive, actually. It's not that costly. There are quite a few boat ramps within the park for you to launch a motorized boat. Or you can rent canoes. There are some paddle boats, I think, possibly in Jenny Lake, but there's a lot of non-motorized boats that you can use, and you can use those in pretty much all of the lakes in the park. So if you're a kayaker, a canoeer, that sort of a thing, you can bring that. Or perhaps you're like, I want to get on the river, but I don't want to bring anything. I don't want to rent anything. I don't want to do anything but sit. I get you. You can take a float trip down the Snake River. Most of them are an hour. There are a few that are a little bit longer, but you just kind of sit back, enjoy it. You won't get, I don't want to say you won't get wet, but you're on a river, so you might get a splash, but it's a fairly calm boat ride, rough ride. And there are several companies that you can do that with if you would like to do something like that. If you are a biker or for you bicyclists out there, there's quite a few places for you to ride a bicycle. You can rent bikes there. You can bring your own bike. You can, if you're an e-biker, you can also do that. I've seen people on scooters, like the kids have. I sound old when I say that, but I would anyway. There are bikes. You can also take a biking tour. There is along the main road through the Tetons, there is this path, like you can see right here with these in this picture, the cyclist are, and it really does go pretty much the length of the park. Now you cannot bike on the trails. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to hike the trail, I'm going to bike the trail. No, unfortunately, you cannot do that. You will have to stay on pavement. And you are subject to any rules and regulations that the park has if you want to be a biker over there. But I've seen many people bike. And the nice thing is this road that is following the park is flat. So you're not, going up here in the actual Tetons. For you fishers, I am not a fisherman at all, but you can do some fishing out in the Tetons. You do have to have a license, and you can purchase that in quite a few places in the park or around the park in some other places like Flag Ranch or in Jackson. Most of the lakes are open year round for fishing, and there is some places in the Snake River you can also fish. Different times of the year that you can fish in the river. There are restrictions on the amount of fish that you can keep, and it also does. There are restrictions on the size. But if you just want to fish and have fun with fishing, you can catch and release any old time you want to. There are some rules also involving the kind of lures you use and that sort of a thing. All right, climbing and mountaineering for you daredevils. This is not a thing for me at all. You don't have to do mountaineering unless you are doing one of the overnight trips. And then you have to have a backcountry permit. Um, I've never climbed a mountain, never gonna climb a mountain, probably. I'm gonna say that's pretty much a good 0%. But I would imagine this is not something you want to go and do by yourself. You want to have a buddy. So again, there are outfitters, companies in the area that can help you with your mountain climbing. From what I've understood from some climbers that I have met when I've been there, it's actually not one of the hardest mountains to climb if you have already been climbing mountains. If you just woke up one day and said, I'm going to go climb Mount Moran, that's probably not a thing you should do. You should probably get some training first. But that is an option if you want to go and climb those beautiful mountains. Now, for those of you who are like, you know what? I just want to see the park. I'm not a hiker. I'm not a biker. I don't want to do any sort of adventure. I just want to enjoy the scenery. I hear you. There are great places to drive. You have the main road from the north to the south of the park, but you also have scenic drives within the park. Now, I put on here, you can actually drive the park from north to south, south to north in just a matter of a few hours without even stopping. But why? Why would you do that? This is meant to be enjoyed and savored, this beautiful place in our planet right here in the United States, right? There's lots of places that you can pull over and just take your pictures, maybe walk out in the field a little bit if there's a sign, saying that you can do that. But there are places you can go, and if you are one of those who love, love, love to get up early in the morning, there's a couple of great places within the park to see a sunrise and sunsets. I've already shown you a sunset photo, but some great places for sunrise pictures as well. But with any national park, there are wild animals, and this is their house, right? And they just go where they want, and they will sometimes cross the road. So you do need to be careful for any animals, and also for people who like to just run across the road with their camera and take pictures. So that's a real thing. Speaking of wildlife, wildlife are everywhere in the park, and always maintain the park mandated distances as not to disturb their habitat. Remember, you are a guest in their home. This is not your house. These are not pets. These are wild animals, and they may look cute and fuzzy and cuddly, but the reality is they could do some serious damage to you. Yeah, stay away from them. Stay away. I actually saw my last trip, actually. I was just there last year, and my daughter and I were out looking, and there was a sign, don't hike past this point. So we stopped, and I see in the distance the family. And guess who found them? A park ranger. And this park rangers do. They bring you back and write you a ticket, and sometimes throw you out of the park. So please be aware they are there to watch you and keep the animals safe. So for here, this is a picture my husband and I took. This was on Jenny Lake, the hike I showed you just a few slides back. They have a place called the Moose Ponds or Moose Lakes. Well, lo and behold, here was mom and a baby, and dad was there as well, but I only had space for one photo. But moose are in the water areas. It's where they like to live. If you have never seen a moose up close, when we were there a couple of years ago, we stayed in a bed and breakfast, and moose walked through the neighborhood. These are humongous animals, humongous. And again, they look cute. Don't touch the moose. We also have elk, a lot of elk in this area. Just to the south of the Teton is the National Elk Refuge. And if you do happen to go in the wintertime, they come down and they kind of like congregate in this area. And we're just talking hundreds of thousands of elk are out there. Again, see those beautiful, beautiful horns or antlers. They can poke holes in you. Stay away. Now, there's no animals in this photo, but this is an area in the northern part of the park called Oxbow Bend. It's a great viewing spot of the mountains, but it is also a good place to spot wildlife. There's quite a few places to park. They will go over here on this little island, and you will be way over here in the parking lot. So bring binoculars. Binoculars are a great thing when you're in any national park. Ranger programs. So children and adults can become an honorary junior ranger. It says it's for kids, but y'all, anybody can do it. I'm going to switch back over to me for just a second. Um, Hello, these are mine. Y'all, these are mine. I had been helping my daughter do these since she was about 7 years old. And I'm like, my own. So I actually earned back last year. I actually do have the Grand Teton National Park Junior Park Ranger. Some parks have a senior ranger, but not all. But they all have junior ranger. One of the great things about the junior ranger program, whether you are doing it with your child or you're doing it with just for yourself, is you learn so much about the park. It's actually, instead of just tootling around the national park going, that's pretty, that's pretty, the programs actually let you learn things about the park. So I highly recommend that you either do the junior ranger or senior ranger if it's available for you to learn about the actual park, or at least go to some of the programs. The rangers will have programs in the park. It could be, geological about the formation of the mountains. It could be about wildlife. It could be, it is a dark sky area, so there could be some at night if you really like to observe the stars. Lots of programs and definitely, definitely worth your time. And here's the great thing. Almost all of those programs are free. Now, there's other things you can do in the Tetons that I didn't even do. For you people who do want to do some serious mountain biking, you got it. It's there. Maybe they don't really have a lot of four-wheeling, not in the park. I know there is some outside of the park, but here are some ATV type vehicles you can do. For you golfers, there are quite a few golf courses in the area. Horseback riding, that is also, and there are horseback um, companies that take you in the park on some of the trails because I have seen horse manure while I've been hiking. Hot air ballooning, if that's something you've never done, that is actually, I did it a long, long time ago, but it is quite beautiful if that's something you'd want to do as well. Well, how do you get up to the Tetons? If your goal is to get to the actual Grand Teton National Park, your closest airport to the parks is the Jackson, Wyoming airport. And this is your view when you land, y'all. When you land in the park, it is a very small airport. You actually walk out on the tarmac after you land. So you walk out and this is your view. You are in the mountains. I will be the first to tell you when you take off from this airport, it is a pretty steep climb because you have to clear those mountains. So um, they do have car rental agencies if you choose to fly in. Of course, you can drive, which is typically what we do because you will need a car in the park unless you're going to spend your whole time on, guided tours, which is always an option. Okay. But you'll have way more fun just driving yourself around the parks. But flying is definitely an option. And this airport is literally just to the south of the entrance of the park. So you are right there. Where to stay? So you want to stay in the Grand Teton National Park. I don't blame you. It's beautiful. You have wonderful views. Well, you do have a choice between cabins and lodges, cottages, and motel style rooms in the park. There are 6 or 7 different options for you, ranging from budget to luxury. This is a picture of the Jackson Lake Lodge. If you don't stay there, go visit there because this is the lobby and that's the view. They do have a very high-end restaurant over here, and it's actually on that side that you can book and eat in there. Over here, you have kind of a 50s style diner you can eat in. And then up at the front is a bar slash restaurant. And that sunset photo I showed you earlier was from the back porch back here. This is one of the higher end lodges. Jenny Lake Lodge is the highest cost in the lodge. If you like to camp or RV, there are 7 park campgrounds, and you can do that if you like. Now, notice I put this on the bottom. All lodging in the park will need to be booked in advance. It is extremely rare to show up and say, "Hey, I need a room for tonight," and then to say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we got that." Yeah, no, it's probably not going to happen. So we are currently in January. The park, all these things will start opening up in May, most of them, so maybe not till June the 1st. They, believe it or not, they could already be starting to be booked out for the summer. Okay, they book quite a bit in advance. So if you are thinking, I want to do that this summer, or September, May to September is probably your best times. May is you're still gonna have snow. You're still gonna see snow. In September, you won't, but it's definitely getting chillier. But you would want to start booking this really, really right now, and I can absolutely help you book those. Now, if it is all booked up in the park, or you don't want to stay in the park, you can also stay in the town of Jackson. So, Jackson and surrounding areas. Jackson is the town just to the south. It's very touristy, but it's just wonderful. Um, Probably at some point in your lifetime, you've seen a picture of these elk antlers. There's actually 4 of these arches that surround the town square. You can go get your picture made in along with all the other tourists. The whole square is surrounded by shops. This was taken in the winter. Seeing this is not my picture, but in the winter you can see they have an ice skating rink in the middle of the square. For those of you who are 21 and older, if you ever remember the movie from the early 80s, maybe late 70s, called Any Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood, this is the $1 Million Cowboy Bar. I finally got to go in it on my last time because I was finally old enough. Well, I've been old enough, but my daughter wasn't, so I couldn't go in, without her. But they do have those wonderful saddle bar stools, highly uncomfortable, but you can go and say you did it. If you want to head over to the other side of the mountains, you can go to the Grand Targhee Ski Resort. And there is skiing over there. That's in Idaho. Or you can do what these lovely people are doing, and what we've also done. You take the ski lift up to the top of the mountain, and you can actually see the Tetons from the backside. And I think a lot of people don't think about doing that, but it's actually really nice. Not as many people, so you get a little bit of breather from crowds. Maybe you don't want to take an open air gondola like this. Maybe you want to take the closed one. Right beside Jackson is Jackson Hole. We call it Jackson Hole or the Teton Village. You have the gondola. You can take it to the top of the mountain. I believe it's between 10 and 11,000 feet at the top. But the whole Teton Village is a lovely area right there. It's also there is skiing actually right there now that I think about it. Some great restaurants, some other places to stay as well. This is, if you like luging, there is the Snow King Mountain Resort just on the south end of Jackson. You've got luging, they've got, ropes courses, they have alpine coaster, mini golf, a really good family day for in the summer, and there will be skiing there in the winter. And this is Victor, Idaho. Victor is kind of near where Grand Targhee is. It's in Idaho, just on the other side. For those of you who like to go to breweries, Victor has quite a few that you can go and visit. Jackson has some as well. Both sides also have distilleries and wineries. So if you were wanting to take some of those tours, those are also really fun as well. So that is the end of my presentation about Jackson. Remember, I'm Christy from Hidden Compass Travel. And so, if you've enjoyed this, I hope you have. I hope it has inspired you to go to the Grand Tetons if you've never been. Remember, I am here to help you book your trip, plan your trip, whatever you need for that. Book that airfare, book a rental car, get those hotels booked. Any of those, those companies, tour companies. If you want to do a, wildlife tour, a float trip, a fishing tour, bicycling, or maybe, you just want to get in your car and drive. I am here to help you with that. So feel free to leave any comments, like and follow my channel here on YouTube, Hidden Campus Travel by Christy, or also like my Facebook page. So remember, I am here to help you. And as always, happy